Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
In order to demonstrate that the vital force is the self of the body and organs, it has been introduced as Angirasa. It is Ayāsya Āṅgirasa, paragraph 8. But it has not been specifically stated why it is called Angirasa. The following paragraph is introduced to furnish that reason. If that reason is valid, then only will the vital force be admitted to be the self of the body and organs. It has next been stated that the organ of speech and the rest depend on the vital force. To show how that can be proved, the text says, Ayāsya Āṅgirasa Angirasa Prano va Angirasa Prano hiva Angirasa Tasmadyasmat kasmat changat prana utkramati tadeva tachushyati esha hiva Angirasa. Mantra 19. It is called Ayāsya Āṅgirasa, for it is the essence of the members of the body. The vital force is indeed the essence of the members. Of course it is their essence. For instance, from whichever member the vital force departs, right there it withers. Therefore, this is, of course, the essence of the members. It is called Ayāsya Āṅgirasa, etc. This is repeated here as it is from paragraph 8 for the sake of the answer. The passage ending with "the vital force is indeed the essence of the members" reminds us of what has already been explained. How? The vital force is indeed the essence of the members. Of course it is their essence. The particle he denotes a well-known fact. Everybody knows that the vital force, and not the organ of speech, etc., is the essence of the members. Therefore, it is right to remind us of this fact with the words, "The vital force is indeed." How is it well known? From whichever member, any part of the body without distinction, is meant, the vital force departs. Right there, that member, withers or dries up. The word therefore, signifying conclusion, is construed with the last sentence. Therefore, this is of course the essence of the members, is the conclusion. Hence, it is proved that the vital force is the self of the body and organs, because when the self departs, withering or death of the body takes place. Hence, all creatures live through that. Therefore, leaving out the organ of speech and the rest, the vital force alone should be meditated upon. This is the sense of the whole passage. The vital force is the self not only of the body and organs, which represent form and action respectively, but also of the Vedas, Rik, Yajus, and Saman, which consist of name. Thus the Shruti magnifies the vital force, extolling it as the self of all, to show that it is a fit object of meditation. Aum Eshahu Eva Brihaspati Vagvai Bṛhatī Tasya Esha Patihi Tasmādu Brihaspatihi. Mantra 20. This alone is also Brihaspati, Lord of the Rik. Speech is indeed Bṛhatī, Rik, and this is its Lord. Therefore, this is also Brihaspati. This alone, the vital force in question called Angirasa, is also Brihaspati. How? Speech is indeed Bṛhatī, the meter with 36 syllables. The meter Anushtubh is speech. How? For the Shruti says, speech is indeed Anushtubh. Taittiriya Samhita 5135. And this speech called Anushtubh is included in the meter Bṛhatī. Hence it is right to say, speech is indeed Bṛhatī, as a well-known fact. And in Bṛhatī all riks are included, for it is extolled as the vital force. For another Shruti says, Bṛhatī is the vital force. Bṛhadāraṇyaka 2:16. One should know the riks as the vital force. Ibidam 2:2:2. The riks are included in the vital force as they consist of speech. How this is so is being explained. And this vital force is its lord, the lord of speech, that is, of the riks in the form of Bṛhatī. For it gives rise to speech, since the riks are recited through the air which is propelled by the fire in the stomach. Or the vital force may be the lord of speech, being its protector, for speech is protected by the vital force, since a dead man has no power to utter words. Therefore, this is also Brihaspati, that is, the vital force is the self of the riks.
Namaste. So Ayāsya means undefeatable, all victorious. Param vijayate. And Angir, Anga means limbs, and rasa means the essence. The essence is implied that this is a taste. This is a feeling. So the undefeatable essence of the bodily organs or limbs is the vital force. Well, of course it is. Because as soon as the vital force departs the body, along with the mind, the intelligence, the ego, and the consciousness, the body falls down and withers, decays. It becomes useless. In fact, it becomes garbage. Everybody just wants to get rid of it as quickly as possible. Even though it may be a beloved or may have been a beloved family member in life, the body is disposable at death. So this means the body is not the important thing. As sage Yajnavalkya will say later on in this same Upanishad, the husband is beloved not because of the husband, but because of the self. The wife is beloved, the family is beloved, the world, the sages, everything is beloved, not for its own sake, but for the sake of the indwelling self. So without the self, all these wonderful things that we love so much are just useless. Therefore, the self should be worshipped. The self should be meditated upon. The self should be identified with and made the object of one's yoga practice. This is the lesson of this Brahmana, Udita Brahmana. Why? Because only the self never becomes contaminated by evil. It never becomes selfish. It is always available to all the organs and gives them the energy they need to function. So because the vital force is selfless, non-egoistic, open, giving, all-pervasive, unlimited, actually, within the boundaries of the existence of the universe, Therefore, the self and the vital force are, for all practical purposes, identical. And by realizing the vital force, by identifying with the vital force, one comes very close to the self, Brahman, Turiya. These are almost synonymous terms. The vital force, prana, the subtle body, linga sharira, and the prana maya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, and anandamaya kosha. These are all one thing because they are all immortal for the duration of the universe. Only the meat body, the annamaya kosha, is subject to death. Therefore, we should not identify with it because that leads to suffering. We should instead condition our minds to regard the vital force as ourself. This is a much more intelligent position. So we have to understand that this is the actual conclusion of the Vedas. And it's given in the Upanishads, especially Bṛhadāraṇyakopaniṣad, which is an extension of the Sama Veda. The Udgita are the verses of the Sama Veda that are sung by the Udgatra priest in the great Vedic sacrifices given in the Rig Veda. So, Mantra 20 identifies the vital force with the Riks. A mantra of the Rig Veda is called a Rik. Really should be spelled R with a dot under it, K. Rik. Each Rik is a prayer, a mantra, and also a meditation. So one could spend the whole rest of one's life simply meditating on the mantras of the Rig Veda, and this would be a very good medicine. This would be a wonderful way to attain self-realization. So the interesting thing about all this is it circumvents all the elaborate philosophical knowledge that is given in the other Upanishads and in Vedas and Puranas and books like Mahabharata. It goes right around them and goes directly to the self without any philosophical conclusion. Now, this is ideal for people in Kali Yuga because we are not used to thinking in terms of philosophy. We are not skilled in philosophical thought by our conditioning, by our education, by our environment, and so on. We are averse to philosophical thought because it's so easy for it to go wrong and to come up with nonsense conclusions. Reason, it is well known that reason and argument can be used to prove anything. You can prove that black is white and right is wrong. Very simple, using logic. So logic is not a guide to truth. What is? The mantras of the Upanishads. They have the authority to reveal what is actually the truth. So this is kind of surprising because we are told in so many ways that the cultivation of knowledge leads to truth, leads to self-realization and enlightenment, and even moksha. But actually, it's not true. Just like the Vedic rituals cannot give liberation on their own without the practice of meditation, similarly, the cultivation of knowledge cannot give liberation. The word jnana, which is often translated knowledge, actually means something more than ordinary knowledge. It means realized knowledge. It means knowing oneself through that knowledge. Just like a finger pointing at the moon. There it is. That's the role of knowledge. It points you in the right direction. That's all. You still have to do the practices. We know, there's one guy in particular who keeps writing me with all of this incredible speculation, and it's all wrong. And it's wrong in such a subtle way that he cannot perceive it. He cannot see how it's wrong. Because logic only gives you one-dimensional answers. And in our Western logic, which is based on duality, black and white, right and wrong, true and false, saved and sinner, there's no in between. There's no shades of gray. It's all absolute. This or that, A or not A. Take your pick. So this is a sign of a degenerate mentality. This is a sign of false logic being used to reach spurious conclusions that are not in any way the truth. Although they may superficially appear to be logical. That's logical, Captain, Spock. Actually, it's the captain who wins the day by his intuition and the timing of his actions and so on. So this is more than one-dimensional. This is multidimensional knowledge. This is the knowledge of the Vedas. It's meant to be realized, not thought about, not just spoken, and certainly not just embodied in a ritual. The rituals preserve the ancient forms so that we can know the language and the truths through them. But they are not the truth themselves. They can't be, because they're symbols, they're language, they're abstractions. They're mere verbal knowledge, which really should be translated vidya. But jnana means experienced knowledge, realized knowledge. An experience that changes your consciousness permanently. That is the Advaita teaching. That is actually the conclusion of the Vedas. And that is the key to complete self-realization. Aum Tat Sat. Aum Shakti Aum. Aum Namah Shivaya.